if we was in like a room with people in there, I'd be doing a bit of audience participation. I'd be saying, right, put your hands up if you've ever been to an award ceremony. And then I'd probably say, put your hands up if you've ever won an award at an award ceremony. And then I'd probably say, and put your hands up if, as a result of that award, you've ever got any business from it. So we're not in a room, but all of you on this call, just have a think. Where do you sit in there? So Donna, your put my teeth back in. August recognition, all around global agency awards. I believe you've got an AwardsApp, Revolutionary AI. Is that it?
Yeah, that's coming out soon. Yes. So
Is that with Dan Priestley?
yes, it is. So August Recognition is the agency. So we're a global agency that focuses entirely on supporting all kinds of businesses to win awards, agencies, corporates, small businesses, scale ups, you name it.
Yeah.
And then we're launching, so Daniel Priestley is my business partner, and we are launching AwardsApp in a couple of months' time. And that is going to essentially do everything that we do as an agency on a SaaS platform. It's going to have the biggest global database of verified awards programs in it, and it will help you to create the entries, create the presentations and pitches that you need to make. It will prejudge the entries so that before you even submit them, you know if you're ticking all the criteria and you are providing enough evidence, and it will give you hints and tips. It's going to be fully trained on all our methodologies for winning, which are top secret. And it will even help you do your PR and advertising afterwards.
Brilliant.
So, yeah.
Brilliant. That sounds amazing.
Very exciting.
Over the 25 years I've been doing this, I've been to loads of awards. I think I've been to the Drum Awards, the Chip Shop Awards, the B2B Awards, the Prolific North Awards, the Beamer Award. I'm an award junkie, right? Now I've got some stories of these awards, but you must have been to even more than me. So, quick question before we get into the detail. What is the most ridiculous thing or the most outrageous thing you've seen at an awards entry that's made you go, oh my God, this mad creative industry, it's proper broken? Because I've seen some stuff.
Well, I often do judging. So with lots of awards, there's two stages to the process. So there's the written entry and then there's the presentation. It's sort of Dragon's Den style. I've had people come in superhero outfits, in cuddly bear outfits, with cakes for me, like all kinds of gifts. So I just want to say, if you ever get to that stage, you don't need to worry about the gimmicks, because we're still going to ask you for the evidence.
You're going to ask for the evidence, right? So no gimmicks, just raw evidence. Okay. And I think like with agencies, and I speak to loads of them, as you know, I think they fall into like probably three categories. You've got the ones that are like awards, like don't even touch the radar. You've got ones that are like, oh, awards, but they're really expensive to enter. They take loads of time. And then you've got the ones that are like award junkies, like they're in every category, in every agency going. So, and I alluded to earlier, there's so many awards. Like you literally could be spending your life doing awards. How, as an agency owner, as an agency leader, do you really identify like this is the specific award we should enter, with that mindset that it's not an award for vanity? This is going to move the needle in your agency. You're entering that award, you're making the investment. I'll take the word cost out. You're making the investment both in money and time, because you're going to move the needle. What do they need to be looking at?
For every business, awards about being strategic. If you just throw yourself into random awards because they happen to drop into your inbox, you saw them online, or maybe someone else you knew was in them, there's nothing strategic about that. And it frustrates me that people make business decisions on a whim about awards instead of planning them into their year and their marketing budget strategically. So the first thing is, what do you want to actually happen from that award? What's the outcome you're looking for? Because there's different outcomes from different awards. So one of the biggest outcomes that typically agencies will be looking for is helping them to either attract more clients or keep the clients they've got, and maybe a bit of both.
Yeah.
So, and that in itself creates a return on investment. So Agencies that we work with, we're working really strategically to either keep the clients they've got, so by getting recognition for the projects that they're doing, it builds a relationship, it adds a level of value to that relationship that no one else is offering, because when that contract comes up again in a year's time, you've got something really special with that client. It shows confidence when you go into a pitch with clients to show, what we're so proud of the work that we do, that we enter our clients and
Yeah.
projects into awards every time we complete certain stages. That a lot of the agencies we work with say they wouldn't have won the pitches that they get to if they didn't have a very current award in that topical area. So it really does depend on what their strategic outcome is that they want to create. Other agencies will be doing it for recruitment and retention and reward of teams, for
Right.
example.
That
So
makes sense.
actually demonstrating you're a great place to work, you have a super culture. Attracting and keeping staff today is incredibly difficult. And a lot of research has shown that is something, employees are something like 88% more motivated by individual recognition than they are by a pay rise. Because you give out a company-wide percentage pay rise, that's nice. Everyone needs more money, of course they do. But there's no individual recognition for me or for my team or for the projects that we've done. When you actually give that level of recognition, that can go a long way to retaining your team and also attracting new team members as well. So
That,
I would
that-
say you start with the end in mind. What is it you want to achieve? And that's what starts the steering process of what you're going to enter.
So start the outcome I want this. Why do we enter? How do we do it? And that is interesting. I mean, I ran for many years an organisation called the Business Marketing Club. It was all for B2B agencies, B2B marketers, and I'd have B2B marketers, so CMO level marketing directors. They'd ring me and they'd go, "Jay, you know all the B2B agencies. I've got this brief. Who should I speak to?" Okay, so I get that call probably a handful of times a year, 5 or 6 times a year, I'd get that call. And I'd always say to them, okay, talk me through your brief. But then I'd say, who's already on your shortlist? Who do you think, without asking me, you want to speak to? And I promise you now, when they gave me the names and I said, how did you come up with that name? They all said they've won awards.
Yeah.
That's how they were shortlisted. Before they spoke to me and said, who would you think? They'd go, this is the brief, this is who I've got to, and I got to them through looking who'd won awards.
Yeah.
So bearing that in mind and what you just said about thinking of the outcomes, whether that's attracting more or retaining more, because that's really about driving your revenue, isn't it? Either by the attraction or the retention. We know that when you rock up, bit like it was the BAFTAs last night, wasn't it? When you rock up to an award, it's already decided who's won the award. It's not like let's vote on the night for the work and it goes to this agency. It's all done and dusted. Your turn. You might not know who's won. You've won it, but the people there, they know. The judges know who's won that award. And if we think, the B2B awards I used as an example was I think October, November last year. So it's a year away. We need to start thinking now.
Yeah, 100%.
If we want an outcome of attracting talent, whatever, we need to start thinking now about what are we doing. So what do agencies need to do? What data do they need to be collecting? I'm guessing like the story. What stories do they need to be building, coupled with this data to go right? Let's go into to trying to win this award. How do this for those who haven't done it? How do they get their head around this?
Yeah, so there's a process and there's a timeline and there's a practical way of achieving that. So essentially, if you want to win awards in 2026, you need to be thinking about entering in the next few months. Up until the summer deadlines, sort of around June, July, the latest ones, you will still get awards this year. If you start entering later in the year, then your awards are going to be 2027. So already the clock is ticking. The season is open. It's time to start. What you need to do first, though, is a bit of self-evaluation. So, and there's a few things, and it really does depend on the kind of award that you're going for. So I'll give you some examples. So if you want to win, for example, to demonstrate your expertise in certain types of themes of what you do. So maybe you're a search agency or SEO, let's say, something like that. You need to think back a year. All awards cannot recognize you for what you haven't achieved yet. They can only recognize you for what you have achieved. So when awards open, they generally give you a timeline of when your projects need to have been completed. So generally speaking, it will be looking backwards a year. If you're entering more, that's for specific projects and for agencies, for example. If you're looking more at awards for general business, so outside of the agency remit, but more competing apples against pears, something like Lloyd's British Business Excellence Awards, they'll look back 3 years. So, but typically look back a year and think, what happened in that year? What was good? What excited us? What made us stand out? Was there a particular client project that did well and you've got some good impact from it? Is that client easy to work with and potentially up for some recognition? Because you need to get them to go along with you getting that in for a case study and get a nice testimonial or some feedback from them. So if you think, well, yes, I've got a great client and that's really exciting. And actually we had this really good project, but actually the rest has been a bit of a roller coaster, turnover's been up and down and etc. That's fine. Just focus on the project. A lot of awards won't be interested in the entire business performance if you're entering a category just around a particular type of
But
project.
really focused on the project that delivered.
On the other side of it, you might think, well, I haven't got a standout project because we do lots of projects in similar areas. And actually, you could enter for the whole agency and use multiple different examples of how you apply your work in order to get results for your clients. So you could be looking at more kind of best small agency, those kind of awards. You might be looking at the team, you might be looking at individuals within the team. So you might want to get some recognition for them individually. So start evaluating anything that we put forward, we need to provide evidence of. So what is that evidence? And I always say you work backwards from the impact that you've had. How have you made a difference to your client? How have you made a difference to your team? How have you made a difference in the growth of your business? What is that impact? And if you work backwards from that to work out how you got there, then you've got the story already lined up for you and you've got the evidence. What often people do, or the mistake that they make, is they work forwards from, oh, this would be a nice idea, let's enter this into an award, but they haven't worked out if they've actually got the right level of impact yet, the right data and evidence, if the client's going to be on board with it, with a testimonial, that kind of thing. So bit of fact
Bit of
finding
reverse
to
engineering.
start with. Yeah, absolutely.
And what's the typical data that they're looking at to back up that this is worth entering, or the judges are looking, going, yeah, this data supports why they're entering that award? What's the
Well,
sort of
if you're a
people need to be pulling
B2B
together?
agency, then you need to be demonstrating the impact you've had on your client. But I always say go a bit further than that. What's the impact then that the client has had on their audience as well? So collect the data around all the great things you've done for them and what that's achieved, whether that's if it's created commercial performance uplift, if it's created it might be engagement uplift, it might be PR, it might be search uplift, whatever the projects are that you've been doing. Where is the uplift and where have you gone from and to? So you need to demonstrate how you've moved the needle for them, but then also think about what impact that has then had for them and for their customers. How's that helped them move the needle for someone else? And that might be B2C. It might, you might be going B2B to C. That might be B2B to B, whatever that is. Look a little bit beyond just what you were contracted to do and actually how you're changing their world or making things easier for them and making things better for them, because that's what we want to see. Ultimately, we need evidence and we need data, but we want to see human impact in some way. Even if you're entering an award all about technology, there's a human somewhere that's having an impact.
Is that the storytelling side of it, when we say, like, get your stories together along with the data? Is that what you're alluding to there?
Yeah, absolutely. There's like a framework that you can use, which is impact, values, and evidence. So your impact on a logical side of things, a bit like left brain, right brain. So your logical impact is quantitative. So all the uplifts might be savings, might be cost savings for your clients. It might not even be uplift. You might have just saved them a load of money. Or had better performance for the money that they were spending. So think about the logical impact from a quantitative evidence perspective. And then the values side of things, that's the human impact, that's the qualitative evidence, that's the stories, the case studies, the testimonials, the why really that you got there.
Okay. And you obviously do this, like, when you're getting this data and you're listening to the story, are there any, like, I don't know, like triggers? Are there any like markers that make you go, do you know what? this is a weird win. This is award winning in the making. You
Yeah.
put them all in and you can just see one and you go, yeah, this has got it.
Yeah. Well, transformation is a good trigger. So if you've transformed something either internally in your business or for your client, and that could be transforming performance, that could be transforming the way they think, that could be transforming the way they do something. So any kind of transformation story is always a really nice trigger in awards. Any kind of human impact story is really important as well. So not only have you made a difference from a performance perspective, whether that's commercial or project based, but you've relieved stress, you've improved relations. There's other things around that have come out of that. So yeah, when there's kind of a human impact story and a transformation story together, that's really good. But any level of growth or saving really is what you're looking for. So because you can then evidence the change, that's what you're looking for, is how do I evidence the change? In an award, I don't want to just show up and say, we're good because everyone else is saying they're good.
Yeah.
Most
Okay.
businesses don't win or lose an award by more than a point or two because everyone entering it is good or they wouldn't be entering the award.
Yeah.
So you've
Okay.
really got to think about, well, what makes you better?
So how many awards do you think you've been involved in, Donna?
Oh gosh, thousands. I don't
Thousands.
know.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't.
So you've been involved in thousands of awards. You must have seen countless winners all going up in the nice. Do you know they've changed some of the back in the day? It'd be like black ties and things. I went to some recently and it's just like jeans and trainers. It's
Well,
all
it depends what award you're in. If you're in a cool, trendy marketing award, then yeah, probably. But if you're in a more formal business award,
or
then
what?
they still love their black suits.
Another black suit. So you've seen these countless winners. They're all doing the things you said there. They're getting data. They're getting great stories. They're getting the clients on board and shit. It's all good, else they wouldn't be entering them. What really separates the buyers from the spires? What really separates those winners from the losers? Is there anything that you go, right, this constantly, the countless winners I see, these are the things that really separate the winners?
Well, I think it is that impact side of things, but also I say show, don't tell. When you just tell, and we're good at this, and we're good at this, and we do this, and everything's great, and it's perfect, that can be a bit of a dry story. But if actually you can show that, you can bring it to life in some way, whether you've got some video, maybe some imagery, taking photos, just take photos of everything. Most awards enable you to provide supporting evidence, and that can really make a massive difference in your entry as well. So, that can be pretty magical. But obviously, it depends on what you do and how you do that. I think thinking beyond just what you're achieving and thinking beyond even what your client's achieving, but what difference that makes in the world somehow as well, can make a real difference. There's so many, there's so many variables. It's interesting because obviously as an agency, we are putting together awards every day. No two products of ours that go out are ever the same. No two stories, even from the same client. We have some of our clients do 80 to 100 awards in a year.
80 to 100 awards.
Yeah, they're
Do
big.
they, do they do they run an agency as well, or do they just enter?
No, that's like more the corporate side of things. But even we would never tell the same story twice. It will always be different because
Wow.
every single award and every single category is looking for something new. So
Yeah.
you have to find the magic in every single story that you tell. So one thing I would say is don't be the one who writes one award entry and tries to put it in every award they can find, because for you that was a way of saving time. For someone else, they put a huge amount of time and effort into telling one story in one award, and they're going to win because of it. So you've really got to think about. I always say it's a bit like the Olympics, Team GB, the aggregation of marginal gains. So what is that extra bit of magic? It's like, what material are their suits in? What mattress have they slept on the night before? All those tiny little incremental changes add up to savings in time and help them to win. It's the same with your award entry. every single little bit of magic that you can add, every extra bit of feedback from your client, from your employees. Find out how your team felt about things. It's not always just about the client. What extra have they brought to the table? Bring it to life, have personality in there, and show us who you are. When you're judging an award, I judge a lot of awards. I could easily have 60 entries, and I've got to find my way through those entries and find the ones that stand out. Why are they standing out? They're standing out because they've got the data, but there's a bit of extra in there that makes me really connect with the humans in there and the people who are running the projects and that real human impact that they're making.
Love it. Can you believe it's 5 to 10?
It's gone quick, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been scribbling notes down. I could keep speaking to you for ages. I've been scribbling notes as I've gone, and just looking. I'm going to try to summarise this. So I think entering awards does help you retain and win more work for sure.
100%.
You've got to start now if you
Yeah.
want an award in 2026. So we've got to
Yeah.
start now. You don't need gimmicks, no superhero outfits or cupcakes. What you need is really good data, a really
Yeah.
good story. You need to be thinking beyond what you're doing just for your client, but how you're affecting their clients as well. You want to show, not tell. But a big thing that you were saying right at the end, you got to find the magic. You got to find what's
Absolutely.
the magic in there. And that's sort of my summary of having that chat with you. And I really, really enjoyed that. We always ask our guests on here, Donna, before we let them go for their weekends. You've got one bit of advice. What would it be? What would the one advice be? I think we've got about 90 agencies or something registered on this today. What would be the one bit of advice to those agencies to take away?
Okay. In the last probably 5 years, having a tagline of being the most award-winning agency in your category has become one of the most valuable taglines you can have for attracting clients. So make that at your ambition. What are you brilliant at? Become the most award-winning at it. And as a lever and a driver for business, it's huge. We're now supporting so many businesses to achieve that goal because of the difference it's making to their investment, their return on investment, and their growth. So aim high, and you will get there. Don't hang
Yeah.
back, feeling humble. Now is not the time to be humble. Now is the time to be proud.